said he liked the way I play my guitar. He was looking for a similar sound, trying to sell it to the suits in Midtown. And it might be nothing, but it might be something good.
We're back, and it's day. Hint, please.
We're going to do math again.
No math.
What's 1 plus 1?
2.
And?
2.
What's that?
11.
Like? Day 11.
Whew.
Back on Irish today.
Irish.
Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
Clonakilty is what we need.
Right in front of me. Or behind me. Depending upon where I am.
No, that's Kilcoman.
Oh! It's the K. Why aren't they in order? They should be in order.
Making it easy.
All right, here we go. Correct?
That is correct.
Awesome.
Right. Why don't you go ahead and pour while I talk?
Okay.
Clonakilty is a sourced Irish whiskey, so starting to see a few trends here with sourced whiskeys. So the reason behind sourcing is, with the exception of very old and established bourbon distilleries or Scotch distilleries or the big Irish ones, it takes a while to A, get the funding to build a distillery, and then B, to have the operating costs to basically make a product that you put into barrels, leave the bottle out. We do that every day. Oh. Leave the bottle out. We do that every day.
Sorry.
And
It's been a long day.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh, and you create a product that you put into a barrel, and in the case of Irish whiskey, it has to sit for at least 3 years to technically be Irish whiskey. Yeah. Anything short of that, it's not officially Irish whiskey. And some of it's not that good at 3 years where you can really sell it. Some of it is good and you can start selling it at 3, but it's still very young whiskey. So the way around that, just like MGP that we learned yesterday, or yesterminute,
yep.
You can buy from some of the established distilleries in Scotland, which isn't all that prevalent, really in Ireland and in the U.S. with MGP or even some of the other distillers. So Clonakilty, I believe, gets their spirit, their whiskey, from West Cork. So West Cork's been around for a long time. You know, the big players are obviously Irish distillers, which is Jameson, Spot, Redbreast. Yep. You have Kilbeggan, you have Cooley, which is now pretty much Teeling, and then you have Bushmills up in the north, and we had something from Iconville not too long ago. So the Irish whiskey renaissance really started about 6 to 7 years ago. So they do, some of the early players now have stocks that are getting to be 5, 6, 7 years old, which are, you know, pretty good whiskeys at that point. Yeah. And the difference why you can have a straight bourbon, as we learned yesterday, 2 years old, that you're putting on the shelf and you're selling, is the climate. So the aging that goes on inside the barrel, where you have a lot more heat and temperature changes, kind of forces that reaction in and out of the wood as it breathes and the temperature changes, where in your northern climates like Ireland and Scotland, you can have a 12-year-old Scotch whiskey that's straw-colored, and you can have a 2-year-old or a 1.5-year-old Balcones whiskey from Texas that's as dark as tar. So there is the lesson. So Clonakilty, this one is finished in a port barrel. So they bought the spirit. It was aged in bourbon and then finished it off in port. So this one, I believe, is 43.6 horsepower. Probably chill filtered. Oh, it says non-chill filtered, which is interesting, under 46%. And from County Cork. So what do you get on the nose, Ann?
I actually get like cookie dough.
Cookie dough?
And...
I get like sugar cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. They would call that a biscuit, right?
Biscuit, they would.
Ireland?
In Ireland, yep.
UK?
Mm-hmm. A little bit of like cherry, sort of,
mm-hmm.
as well.
I'm getting like I think it's probably the port, but more of a red apple instead of a green apple, which typically you'll get a green apple in a lot of Irish whiskeys. So when we get into cask finishes with your sherries and your ports, just think of those. I mean, if you've had port before, you know it's kind of just lost some light. It's going to be that vibrant, deep, stone fruit kind of raisin, cherry, that type of influence to it. But it's got a very light and airy.
It does, yeah. It has nice mouthfeel, which I like. A little oily. What do you think?
You can taste the port on the back end of the finish. The finish to me is a little astringent at the beginning. Kind of white pepper. Kind of spreads over, coats the tongue a little bit.
I feel like it just drops off though.
Yeah, it does. That's
like there's not it's like you get that first burst and then nothing. Which maybe isn't bad.
Yeah. I didn't get the chance to research this one a little bit more. I'm going to go back and do it afterwards and see how my palate's doing. But are you picking up like a little bit of the spiky notes to it? So I think that's going to be, I think this is a blended Irish whiskey. I don't believe it's a single malt. We don't have that malty funk to it. So I think what we're tasting is that grain component, which is going to be shiny, kind of metallic a little bit.
I think what's throwing me off is the mouthfeel, because it's very, very soft in the mouth. Like, I always feel like it's like oily, not in a bad way. Like it almost rolls on my tongue, but then it's got that like you were saying, the astringent part of it, which I'm not expecting. It's like two opposites, which maybe the more you drink it, the more you get it. I mean, it's got the legs I feel like are really.
Yeah, I mean, kind of short. I mean, it's 43%. I also think port wine finished whiskeys, I think port more than sherry. Sherry's going to be a little sharper, a little more brittle, I think. But port, I think, has more of that cloying ability. So I think it kind of, if you think of that spikiness in the grain, it tends to fill in those troughs a little bit.
Yeah,
and
in between.
Smooth out the taste. I almost wonder if this was in a white port. Yeah. Port barrel. Because you don't have that real dark color for something that was finished.
You don't have a lot left
in a port barrel.
It's very light. It almost looks like a white wine.
Yeah. I mean, these are interesting whiskeys. So, this is, I think, $35, maybe 40. West Cork is a small distillery on the scale of things. And they put out some good whiskeys. That truly interesting thing, if you like this one and it's around you, what's cool about them is they're doing a lot of different finishes. So they're taking the sourced whiskey and they're putting their spin on it. I mean, there's stout finished ones, there's port, there's a bunch of different finishes. So if you really want to explore without spending a ton of money, the different finishes on a base whiskey and see what the influences of a sherry or a port or a stout or a double oaked type whiskey are, this is a good line to do that in. And plus, I think it's a cool bottle.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. Yep.
But overall, I think it's a solid whiskey. I enjoy it. I've had other versions. I haven't had the port one before. Bless you. Hope you don't have the Rona.
I really tried not to do that.
Good thing nothing came out. All right. Who are we doing a sneeze out to tonight?
I'm not sure. You have any ideas?
I had last night. All right, let's do a couple.
Okay.
All right. So we'll go opposite ends of the spectrum. So we'll do a shout out to Mr. Bill Arcus.
Mr. Bill Arcus.
Yeah, I think he's enjoying his whiskey calendar again this year.
Oh, good. Hi, Mr. Bill Arcus.
And then we'll go all the way to the other end of the spectrum, and they probably shouldn't be watching this, but Gunny and Izzy, if you're watching again this year, Hope you have a great Christmas.
Enjoy your apple juice.
Yeah, enjoy Colorado, and I know you got to be excited about moving down to Houston.
Yeah.
And also shout out to Uncle Matt and Aunt
And Callie too. Yeah.
All right.
All right. May your heart stay young, the whiskey be old, the cork loose, and adventures full. Cheers.